that better? There we go. That should be it. Just gonna see if we can get something else. Nope, looks like it's gonna have to be the desktop for this emergency one. Anyways, right, okay. Hello, how is everyone? We're sitting at the 13 viewers mark at the minute. There is a little bit of an echo in my headset, so I just hope there's a turn up the mic. Okay. Right. Anyways, very big news. Another manager's been sacked. The day after, or even the day of. Things going badly, you know. But yeah, it's a really weird situation we're in at the minute now, where we've got ourselves a manager hunt after a transfer window. You know, we've got players who have just been signed to the club, hoping to play under the manager we've just sacked, that haven't played a game yet. I'm going to take these headphones off because it's just echoing in my ear. Let me know if there is an echo. I am reading the comments. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Robbie. Up to 15 viewers now. Yeah, let me know who you think should come in to replace. I'm going to read over the statement in a moment. So, right. Let's have a look now. No audio. There we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the audio. I think the audio is fine now. Club statement from Carlisle United. It says, Carlisle United Football Club can confirm that manager Paul Simpson has tonight left the club with immediate effect. Gavin Skelton, Billy Barr and Jake Simpson have also departed. Mark Birch, Stephen Rudd and Jamie Devitt will take temporary charge of first team affairs while the club begins the recruitment process. Everyone at the club would like to thank Paul and his staff for their efforts during the time at Brunton Park. A further update will be provided early next week. Right, so big thing there is, and the big thing that I really wasn't, or was expecting, but was more hoping for than anything else, and that is the fact that Gavin Skelton's gone as well, which, you know, he's been at the club since, Christ, I think it was before Presley, Sheridan, it was Sheridan's time that he was here. He stayed under Presley, he stayed under Beach. You know, Gavin Skelton's been at the club longer than pretty much everyone else, just because I think the old owners were scared to get rid of him. He was Mr. Consistent. He was always there. Yeah, Bradley Twig says surprised Gav left. It is an odd one, but one I'm kind of happy with. I do feel a little bit sorry for Billy Barr. He's literally just been appointed as part of the coaching staff and he's already on his way out. But yeah, we're going to have Mark Birch, Stephen Rudd and Jamie Devitt on the sidelines, which, you know, I do like Jamie Devitt, but I can't imagine he's really the quality that should be a first team manager. We're up to 20 viewers now. Thank you very much for tuning in, especially at such short notice, you know, and that's what it was for everyone, really. I didn't expect it to happen tonight, and it doesn't say anywhere that, let's have a look. It doesn't say anywhere that Paul Simpson has been sacked. It says that he's left the club. I don't think he's quit. I don't think he's walked. As much as I'd like that to happen, I don't think that is the case. Yeah. Joe French says, I'm thankful the PTX understand it wasn't just Simmo, but the backroom staff as well. Yeah. Stephen Rudd 5 months ago was a teacher, apparently. Okay. And now he's going to be taken to charge of a League 2 club. Dave Dennison says, don't feel sorry for Billy Barr. Never forget what he said when he went to Preston. Well, look, I was, 3 years old when that happened, so that's before my real frame of reference there. I can't really remember, to be honest, but I know there was a little bit of an issue when he came back to the club. I think it was something quite disrespectful to Carlisle. I'm that aware, anyways. But yeah, we're out of job now. And I imagine he'll probably follow Simmo wherever he goes next. And that's the thing, I don't think Simpson will be out of a job for too long. Maybe he'll leave it this season, because I think he was really, ran down. I think he was feeling it a bit. Mikey says apparently he's walked so I've heard. Either way, it's kind of the right outcome, bad timing. Yeah, well, I would be inclined to agree with that, had I not just listened to all the interviews with him where he was talking about how he wants to keep, what was he say? He's like, I'm going to keep working hard, I'm going to keep trying to get the right outcomes, we're going to keep, weird thing says, we're going to keep doing the right things, is what he said. Mike says right after the transfer window slams shut, and yeah, it is a weird timing, because I think if you're going to name me the worst time to sack a manager, I would probably say as soon as the transfer window slams shut, which is when it's happened. Hopefully we get the new manager bounce against Bradford, because I cannot for the life of me do with going onto Twitter after they've just smashed us. But by the looks of things, it'll probably be not Gavin Skelton, he's gone, Mark Birch on the sidelines, who I believe was in charge of the youth team. Jake Simpson going as well. Now, there was a lot of rumours surrounding him when he left. Mainly surrounding quite a funny nickname. You know, they said they called him Pothole because everyone tries to avoid him. And to be honest, I never really agreed with the appointment, because it's an odd one, because it's the manager's son, isn't it? And I think that's kind of a weird dynamic to have there, that you're working for your dad. You can did he get the job because he deserved the job, or did he get the job because his dad's Paul Simpson? Is what I would wonder. Joe French says, I swear the interviews were on a script. It was the same words every week. I think after the game he knew, and that's why he went around clapping the fans. Scareport Denny says no mention of Greg Abbott. There, no, nothing on the statement. I assume. Well, he isn't technically involved in the playing staff, which is what has been churned up today. I imagine it might follow, but he's a completely different department. Andy says, "All right, mate. Right decision for me. Been coming for a long time." Yeah, it's only after today that I've really turned on him, and I think the same things happened for the Piatex, but yeah. Mikey says, I've heard a lot about Pothole, mad nickname that. Yeah, it was a different thing. Andy says, on a different note, can you say happy birthday to my son Joshua, 8 today? Had to sit through that. Well, Joshua, happy birthday. And yeah, I can't imagine many worse birthday presents than having to sit through that today. But hey, happy birthday nonetheless. Happy birthday. Dave says, we have some good players, just need a management team who can get them to play. Well, we have got good players. And that's what I think's made this kind of bad start of the season. We're up to 29 viewers now. Thank you very much. Let's see if we can crack that 30. But yeah, that's what's made this season more hard to bear, because a big reason with why I didn't blame Simpson last season is because we had such an awful squad. I think we had a worse squad. We had a worse squad going into League One than we did during the League Two campaign. We went up a league and started with a worse team. Like, look, Joe Garner was starting every week in League One, and he was a bench player in League Two. For us, Luke Plange was dreadful. I think we all know that. So I didn't really blame him, because I didn't think he had the squad. But based on this season, he's got a very good set of players. Like, look, Aaron Hayden, we know for a fact, because he's done it for us. He's better than this level. Terrell Thomas, I think, has looked absolutely fantastic since he came in. He played pretty much every week last year in League One. John Mellish, we know how good he could be. You know, he's the Messiah. And the two fullbacks, I think, and by that I mean Davis and Harper. I know Harper hasn't played because of injury, but they're easily good enough for this league. Harry Lewis got into the team of the season one time. You know, I don't agree with him playing every week, but Beastie Boy says the Blue Army podcast will be a good one next week. Yeah, it's going to be a different one, put it that way. If we even leave it that long, we might do an emergency podcast, who knows. Joe French says, and that's what we're going to talk about today anyways, who would realistically be the next manager? And my response to that would be, I haven't a clue. We've cracked 30 viewers, by the way. Thank you very much. And I haven't a clue because the name that pops to most people's mind, I think, is a manager who plays some good attacking football, has done it at this level, hasn't got promoted but got damn close last season. And people aren't going to like it because of who he used to manage. But Pete Wild, I wouldn't agree with appointing him. But he's going to be mentioned. You know for a fact that he'll be in the running. He'll be mentioned because he'll want to come here. Yeah. Mikey says, my lads are half buzzing. Get a photo with Marzi at the end. Say what you like, he's a class player. Never celebrated, had time for the fans at the end. Yeah, Amari Patrick, I think it's quite poetic that he was the one that kind of put the nail in Simpson's coffin, because it was Simpson's misuse and mistreatment of him that was the reason he left the club in the first place. And it was a nice touch that he didn't celebrate, and it's odd for an old player to come back and not get booed, and that didn't happen because I think Amari Patrick, he's left with grace. He'll always be a fan favourite, and you know he's signed for us twice before. Hopefully one day we get a third roll of dice with Amari Patrick. Mikey says Elliott for me. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not as clued up as I should be with potential managers. That's what I'm saying. Please put some suggestions in the comments, and I'm going to have to Google them because you know the knowledge isn't there for the management side. Ryan Lowe, fourth. Well, that's what we'll start with. We'll start off with Googling Ryan Lowe, shall we? Let's have a look. Ryan Lowe. Oh, yeah, I know who he is, of course. He's the manager who's just left Preston North End. Will he come to League Two? It's close geographically, and that's what I mean with Pete Wild. That's why he's going to be mentioned as well. People seem to think that Carlisle are... yeah. Elliott's the Gateshead manager, and again, it's if he wants to leave. I'll be honest, I don't get the hype with getting young managers in. I would much rather have an experienced manager that's done it there before. Like Brighton now have got like a 31-year-old manager. Like I just don't. To be fair, Gateshead have done really well. They won the FA Vars last year. And look, Ryan Lowe and Elliott, they're both... Ryan Elliott's free, and that's what I think we need to make, to understand here, because as much as I would like to get the Gateshead manager, transfer window's done. You know, and I know that's not how it works with managers, but is a club going to let a manager go? Is a club going to let a manager go when there's not really... Everything's stopped now. The transfer window's over. These are what most clubs have settled on the squad they're going to have, and that includes the manager up until January. So I think it might be too much of an ask to try and buy out a manager from a club, because it's not the time to do that. I don't think clubs are going to accept that. Charles said, is it a mistake? It is a mistake to get rid of Simmo. He needed time to get the team playing the way he wanted. Nobody has any patience anymore. Well, to be fair, there's a part of me that does agree, because I think managers aren't given the time. But he has been, I think it's been, 10 wins in our last 62 games? He has had a year last year, and as much as it doesn't cloud my view of him, but it will cloud the view of the PFTX, because they expected him to stay up last year. So it's not just these 4 games. But yeah. Mike says, looks like Gateshead have a good thing going as well. Might not be ideal that way, but he has them playing some mint stuff. And the thing with Gateshead as well is they've reached their cap. They can't go any higher because you know the FA won't let them get promoted. Then they're literally not allowed because of the situation with their stadium. So if I was the Gateshead manager, and I'm playing some really nice football in the National League, I know for a fact that nothing can ever come of it because I'm not allowed to get promoted. They were kicked out of the playoffs last year because they can't be allowed to come up a league. We're up to 36 viewers now, thank you very much. So yeah, it's a weird one for Gateshead, and I do feel sorry for them, but the ambition there at the club, it literally isn't allowed to be any higher. They're not allowed to get promoted again. Well yeah, Joe French makes a good point. They even played well against us and they beat us. You know, I think they were the best team we played in pre-season. Bradley Twigg says Everett looks like he will be sacked. I assume that means the Ian Everett, the Bolton manager. Again, it's I can't allow that much of a prospect. Yes, they are because of the money they've got and the owners they've got. But again, the way we look at Law, a Championship manager, and he has been for a few years now, is he going to drop to League Two? Is Ian Everett gonna drop down to League Two again? Obviously he did very well at Barrow, and there's maybe a similar issue to Pete Wild there, where we don't want to get an ex-Barrow manager. I don't think that will be the case because we've just signed an ex-Barrow player. But it's difficult. Please get any more suggestions in the please get any suggestions in the comments there as well. 39 viewers. Let's see if we can push for 40. Good 40 viewers on a last-minute stream wouldn't be bad, would it? Concurrently, anyways. That's a very decent target to go for. And please, if you haven't already liked the stream, that helps push it out a little bit. And if you feel like sharing it, I wouldn't complain. But yeah, I'm trying to think of who else we could get, because obviously, what scares me a little bit is the Ollie syndrome, where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just say Mark Birch starts doing really well and we stick with him for the season, which I wouldn't want, because ultimately this needs to be a promotion campaign for the Pietex, and I think that's what they want, even in the new manager, and that's why they've acted so quickly. I'm just trying to think of managers who are out of jobs now. Joey Barton, absolutely not. He's more concerned about God knows what now. Not football related anyways. Do you think Simmo will do an interview with John Coleman? They seem close and might want to say his piece. There's a part of me that thinks they might even do one with the club. He might not but I hope we get to hear his side. We've just breached 40 views as well, where, by the way, we're on 41 at the minute. Paul Lightfoot says Peter Murphy. Again, people will link us with him because of, obviously, he's linked to Carlisle, but Peter Murphy now is, he's just taken, I think it's the, is it Queen of the South? He's just taken a new job anyways. He's just taken a new job, he won't come now. Joe French says I wouldn't want Ian Everett, as I think he's like Simmo and does well under no pressure and low funding, and I'd argue he has massively underachieved at Bolton with high funding and loads of pressure. I'm sure he'll be able to attract a good manager now. Time for calm. Yeah, well, Martin, the thing is I would agree. If we'd have sacked Paul Simpson at the end of last season, like a lot of people said we should have, then I'd have no concern in us getting a good manager. It's just such a bad time. Everyone's in a job, and no one's going to want to leave a job now, right after the transfer window's just shut. Bradley says Keith Curl, probably not, but an option. Yeah, Keith Curl, definitely not. There's also the inside option of Greg Abbott, which is interesting to me. I don't think it'll happen. In fact, it won't. But he's managed the club before, and he's won silverware with the club before. He has been a successful Carlisle manager. And he's at the club now, working in the people have criticised his transfers, which is what he's in charge of now. But yeah, Klopp's available. Maybe he fancies something different. Maybe I've always thought obviously that's not going to happen. But on a little side tangent, I would love one of these top managers to come and see if they can hack it in the lower leagues. Like a Jose Mourinho or a Pep Guardiola or one of these high class managers, just to prove they can do it. I want to see if they can come down and do it in the lower leagues, but obviously that's never going to happen. Possibility of Danny Granger coming in anywhere, even backroom staff for Morecambe. He'll definitely apply, because he applied every single time before Simpson. But again, I think we can aim for a little bit higher than Danny Granger. He got Working in Reds promoted, and that's it. And then he went and was it Dundalk? not Dundalk, not Dundee either. Somebody over in the Scottish Championship, I think, as backroom staff. He's been part of the coaching staff at Morecambe. Yeah, I don't think that Ryan Lowe. We've discussed Ryan Lowe again. I just don't. I'd love it. I would absolutely love Lowe to come because he's a class manager. It's just whether he wants to. And look, he's out of a job. Maybe we can convince him to. Rob Elliott, Pete Wild, Ryan Lowe. Well, yeah, those are the ones that seem to be being thrown around. Rob Elliott, I think it's an odd. I think our best bet now, because I don't think clubs are going to let their managers go at this point in the season. Imagine versing Klopp's Harrogate Town on a Tuesday night. It would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Yeah, and just to go back to Danny Granger, I think we can be aiming a bit higher. Pete Wild for me, he just seems a bit of a twine. Like, you know what, he is a good manager, and he's out of a job, and he probably fits the profile for what we want. I just don't like him. The Peter Tex met Sam Allardyce last season in London. Complete coincidence, of course. Yeah. No. Mike says, Liam, you should do these streams monthly, lad. Great interactions. Well, I think I might, actually. It's funny you mention that. I've thought about doing it a lot. I'd have to get better at it, because it seems to be an absolute faff every time I try and set up one of these streams. Like, I've got this webcam here. It won't show up. But I've been trying to connect that for the last 5 minutes, and it wouldn't work, so I've just had to use my webcam on the desktop, so that's why the picture isn't great. But yeah, after I reach 1,000 subscribers, there's a certain incentive after that to try and get to 4,000 watch hours, and live streams seem to be a very good way of doing that, so we'll see. I definitely want to do more, and I was a little bit gutted that there was no reason to do a deadline day live stream yesterday, but you know, yeah, we'll see. I definitely want to do more, but we'll see. But thanks for the support. Anyways, I'm looking into it. Chris Martin says Greg Abbott playing these players and his ideas could really work. Eliminate the new manager waiting for his own players. Well, Chris Martin reaches a good point there when, you know, these are Greg Abbott's players. All of these players are players he's brought in. Joe French said, I heard Sean Dyche might be getting the sack. Brexit football at Brunton Park. Well, I've had enough of Brexit football, to be honest with you, under Paul Simpson. Yeah, Greg Abbott's a weird one, but he hasn't been a manager in a while, and again, I don't think the fan base would react well to him coming in. We're up to 47 viewers now. Let's see if we can push for 50. Clint Hill is another one. That's time to get the Google up. Yeah, Dan Bell says I think Abbott needs to go too, which I think it's a lot more likely that he leaves. Hold on. I think it's more likely that he leaves now than becomes the manager. Put it that way. I remember the deadline day live stream when we got Coyote. Yeah, I remember the excitement of that day. Only for Coyote to get injured. I think he played one league game, never scored a goal. Yeah, it was. Right, Clint Hill, the Stockport County assistant manager, and I think weirdly, I think we will get a surprise. I don't think it'll be anyone we think. Clint Hill, former centre back, yeah, okay, yeah. Because I remember when we signed Chris Beach, and he wasn't. Which one was the drum? That was the Coyote one, the transfer drum. It's gone, unfortunately. Well, it's up here somewhere, but I haven't got it to hand anyways. Clint Hill might be an option, because Chris Beach for me was a really good appointment, and I really liked him, and I was absolutely gutted when he left, and I'm gutted. And I think he was absolutely, you know, he wasn't, massive jump in viewers there, 56 viewers we're on to now. Thank you very much. And Mikey mentions the darts. Yeah, it is still up there. But yeah, I think we might get a surprise like that, like what happened when we signed Chris Beach, which could be a Clint Hill, like an assistant manager at another team. Didn't Piatek say they wanted to be in the Championship in 5 years? Surely they would have to get a high League One manager at that point, or even come close to that. Well, I think, to be honest with you, they did say that, but I think they thought that's what Simpson was. Unfortunately, he wasn't. Dan Bell asks, do we think he was sacked, or did he walk? And that seems to be a bit of debate online. I personally think he was sacked. I would have loved it for him to have walked. And I respect the Piatek saying that I respect the Piatek saying that he hasn't been sacked. They haven't worded it like that. They've worded it so that he's left the club, which it's just a polite thing to do that people in football do nowadays. But listen to his interviews today. He was talking about how he wants to keep pushing on, keep working hard. I don't think he's walked. Andy says, I'd like to think he walked, but the backroom staff all going to suggest otherwise. They've either been pushed to or walked in support of Simmo. Ross is in the chat. Welcome. Can you say absolutely up the bruff? You know, a massive football club that'll be in the Premier League one day, just as soon as they manage to get off the bottom of the league. Dave says the statement reads like he was sacked, and it does. It never says that he was sacked in them words. Hold on, we're getting quite a few chats in at the same time. Back to Andy's comment. I'd like to think he'd walk, but a good point there with the backroom staff, because they wouldn't have quit, and Gavin Skelton definitely wouldn't have quit, because he's been here for a long, long time. Mark Hughes says, Mikey, absolutely not. No. Name me a club he's been a success at, and I just don't like him. Michael says, Ross says 17 years, mate. Yeah, that's what we need. We just need to push Bruff up to the Premier League. It's weird. Dan Bell says, is it weird that Skelton's gone after outlasting a few managers? I think Gavin Skelton was very much a man of the old club, the old owners. Up to 61 viewers now. We've cracked the 60 marker. Thank you so much for that. Joe French. Yeah, exactly. Talk about the interviews. 60 watching, says Carl. Yeah, it's brilliant support. Yeah, Gary says with the effort he put into his interviews, he sleepwalked out of the club. I was never. I stopped listening to his interviews, to be honest. But he was always one, especially when he first came into the club, that I could just sit and listen to talk for ages. And he's gone now. I don't think there's. I want to remember Paul Simpson fondly, so I'm gonna try and talk about him fondly now that he's gone. CUFC Doug brings up Ryan Lowe and Rob Elliott again. They seem to be the two that people want, but you've got to keep in mind, I think, that it's not just about who we want; it's who will come to the club. And I think Ryan Lowe might, just because he's out of a job. But Rob Elliott, I don't think he will. I don't think he'll leave Gateshead. Well, not that he won't leave Gateshead, that Gateshead won't let him go. Dan Bell says, Pete Wild, I'm not a fan of his interviews, but he did a decent job at Barrow. Barrow, I don't know why I said Barrow. Again, Pete Wild, it's maybe my own stubbornness that I know he's a good manager, I know he's exactly what we want, but I just don't like him. And that's why Paul Simpson lasted as long as he did, because people liked him and because he was a Carlisle lad. I just never listened to his interviews. He always seemed really bitter whenever we beat him, and he never managed to beat us. So, and I don't think he'd do that to Barrow fans. Yeah, TJ says we will end up with Ryan Lowe. I hope we do. I like the idea of Ryan Lowe. I'm just going to pull up his Wikipedia again. He was the first manager to get sacked this season in the Football League. And he was manager of Bury, Plymouth Argyle, and then he spent 3 years as a Championship manager at Preston. and kind of it was Preston are a stable Championship club, aren't they? Yeah, Dan Bell says, yeah, I'm not convinced Pete Wild will be liked by the fans. Yeah, exactly. Sonny Kirkwood says, wouldn't want Pete Wild like. Found out last season when he bottled playoffs with Barra. Yeah. The CUFC Doug says he took Berry up. Was that him? Was that him all them years ago when they finished second? Christ, I remember us beating them 3-2. Christ, and we had a man sent off. Simpson, believe it or not. A different Simpson, obviously. What was it? I can't remember his name now. Pulled it back in the last minute for Hallam Hope to nod home, up to 66 viewers now. Paul Lightfoot says, Rob Elliott not proven in Football League, not showing enough ambition, need a top-class established manager to send out a statement of intent. Yeah, well look, Rob Elliott is a young manager who's working his way up and is doing really well at Gateshead. Yeah. Joe French, and it's weird because I wouldn't mind if we got him. I think he'd be quite a good appointment. I just don't think he would come. I think he would have if we'd have tried at the end of last season, but he won't leave them now. Joe French says, the person I would hate the most as Carlisle manager is Steve Evans. Connor Simpson, that's it, thank you, CUFC Doug, that's the one. Ooh, that's an interesting one in Zigo Arenalde, obviously a very good player for us. Where was he at last? Dan Bell's mentioned Jurgen Klopp as well. I'm just going to look, because I don't know where he is now. Is Arenalde? I don't think he's anywhere. He was last the Leeds United assistant. And I do like him. Again, he's one I wouldn't complain about. But Carlisle fans, and including signing players, seem to be hyper-fixated on people already involved with the club. What's David Moyes up to? But I there's more options, because Peter Murphy's been mentioned in this stream as well. Now, as much as I like Peter Murphy and I like Arnaldo, there's got to be better out there that aren't kind of already involved with the club, and they'll probably apply. They'll apply for the job of, Nigel Peterson, says Bradley. There's a weird one. Manager of the Jimmy Glass era, and to be fair, I think he would probably drop this far down. He was last manager of Bristol City, obviously ex-Leicester manager as well, Nigel Pearson. He was the man before the man for them. He wasn't sacked, mate. He walked because he couldn't take Preston any further. Well, either way he left. He was the first manager to leave. I think the owners will want an experienced manager. Don't think they'll go for someone who hasn't managed before. I'm trying to think, who was the Morecambe manager that got them promoted? Is he back at Morecambe now? I know he went to... Did he go for Bradford for a bit? I think there will be competition to get the job since there is so much money involved. Well, yeah, exactly, but it's just come at an odd time. Mikey says, if you're Biggins, by the way, coming last night, your dad's mates with Simmo, then next night he's out. Yeah, exactly. Munoz, no, he had a shocker at Wednesday, but was very good at Watford. But again, I just don't really know who he is. Derek Adams, that's who I'm thinking of. Thank you, Doug. Get Alex Ferguson, think he's free. I think he's a bit old now. And also maybe a little bit above our pay grade. Do you know what's a weird one? Do you know what? Because I was watching a video of him the other night about Roy Keane talking about how he wants to get back into management. I'm just saying, got Sunderland promoted back into the Prem, kept them in the Prem. If he's wanting a way back into management, that's when we got Simmo. He wanted a way back in. Yeah, Derek. Where's Derek Adams at now? Let's have a look. He is... he's back at Morecambe. who are currently bottom of the league. They're doing worse than us, but I don't think it's his fault, to be honest. It's more behind the scenes issues. Richardson is a shout, says Sonny Kirkwood. Let's have a look. Well, he's out of a job. Again, there's so many managers that it could be. And I think that's the kind of manager we need to be looking at, one that's out of a job. Sol Campbell is free. Yep, and there's a very good reason for that. Dan Bell says, sorry, missed the start of the stream, so you probably answered it, but are you happy Simmo is gone? I'm not happy, because I really wanted it to work, but I think it needed to happen. Happy's the wrong word. Do I think it was the right choice? Yes, but I'm not happy about it. You know, I really wanted it to work out with him. Derek Adams and Danny Granger sitting on 4 losses. Yeah. Hopefully the Piatex don't just bring in a big name with no managerial experience, like Wayne Rooney with Birmingham. Like Wayne Rooney with every job he's been at. I have no idea how people keep employing him. He's at Plymouth now. Are they going to go down bottom? Oh God, can you imagine they get sacked and we get stuck with Wayne Rooney? I haven't listened to him in post-match interviews. I can't think about worse, you know. I genuinely wouldn't have Wayne Rooney. Richardson's intrigued me. I'm of the same opinion. Think he had to go no matter how much we wanted it to work for him. Yeah, it was just a bit too stubborn. I think with the way we played with the formation. I did quite like the 5-3-2. There was of time when it worked, but that time is now. Critchley, there's one. He's just been sacked, hasn't he, by Blackpool? There's an interesting one. I do like Critchley. He was at Liverpool, wasn't he? You know, that's actually thank you to Buzzcocks in the comment. That's a really good shout, Critchley. I would absolutely take him, and I absolutely think he would take the job. He's maybe the choice. He's maybe, you know, we've maybe cracked some of there. He's maybe the one. Gary McKay says Alan Shearer is a striking coach. I think he's probably got bigger priorities than becoming a member of the Carlisle coaching staff. Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney makes me shudder. Yeah, no. Same with Steven Gerrard. You know, there's a reason he's got shipped off to the Saudi League. Surely some big names will be interested in this project. Honestly, I agree, but we've left it to a stupid time where we've got no transfer window for any new manager to come in and get his own players. So we almost need somebody that's willing to work with what they've got. I'm going to look at where is Critchley now. Critchley's really intrigued me. Neil Critchley, that's it. Yeah, it's the right one. Blackpool, QPR, Blackpool again. Then he got sacked. The first time round at Blackpool, he was a massive success. Got them promoted. He was, he's a member. You know, we talked about Klopp earlier. He's under that same bracket. He worked with Klopp a lot of the time, and he's. I think he's gettable. I honestly think he do, and I think he'll be. He strikes me as the kind of manager who wants a long-term project, which is what I think we want as well with Critchley. Now it's time for checking the Carlisle Twitter over the next week to see who's our next manager. Seeing a post of just the Carabao advert instead. I hate them adverts they have to put up on the channel. John Johnson, incredible name, says Pete Wild. Yeah, we've gone through Pete Wild, and again, I'll repeat what I've said. He would be good, but I don't like him. Yeah, Joey Barton, surely he wouldn't get a job in England again. Yeah, I wouldn't want him. And the Piatex wouldn't want to touch him. There's no club in England that goes anywhere near Joey Barton anymore after the things he's said. I think we have a decent squad though. I think big managers would be relatively happy with what we have. The problem with our squad is we've got really, really good players, but we don't have any wingers. So we're very limited in how we can play. I suppose we've signed this new guy who's played on the wing before from Wigan, but that's one. You know, for a bird to fly, you need two wings. You know, we've only got one winger. Yeah, Mike says Joey Barton. Hell no, absolutely, it wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. Would the Piatex maybe look abroad? That's an interesting point. Because that's maybe something to look out for. It's not something that it's not something I know enough about. I can't comment on managers abroad because I don't know enough about them. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what when I was talking about Chris Beach earlier. I think there's a very good chance we get a right surprise that we don't expect, that no one's even heard of, that comes in. Carlisle problem is, and always had been, effort. They either show all the effort or no effort, and there isn't in between. With us, we need more consistently. Yeah. Some young American says CUFC Doug, yeah. Well, exactly, yeah, but... JJ and Dan look good on the wings today, in my opinion. Yeah, we've got players that can play on the wing, but we've only really got one out-and-out winger. He gets injured, we've got no wingers. Some young American manager maybe. Yeah, exactly. Well, people have talked about the MLS. What's the fellow who ran Leeds? I know you mean Jesse Marsh, that was it. Absolutely not. What are you just doing? Oh, shout out Harry in the back here. He says Graham Potter. No. Yeah, no, absolutely not. We're not getting Graham Potter. He's too high profile. England manager, perhaps, but not Carlisle. Saying that, he took some random Swedish team from like the Swedish 4th division all the way to Europe. Maybe he can do that with us. Michael Beale. Yeah, he had one good job. I think, where was he? At QPR, and then he jumped ship and has been awful everywhere else he's been. Gareth Ainsworth, says Dave Dennison. Again, is he out of a job? I thought he was somewhere else now. Let me have a look. Where is Gareth Ainsworth? Obviously a club legend at Wickham, but yeah, Clint Dempsey, no. I would love that bloke who ran Exeter for years with the cool hats. He was a good manager. I couldn't tell you his name though. Someone tell me in the chat who Mikey means there. Joe French says, with the players we have, what formation is the best for us? Weirdly, 5-3-2, because that's the players we bought for. It's just a shame that isn't going to work. I honestly don't know. And it's the manager's job to find something. Paul Tisdale. Oh yeah, Paul Tisdale. Let's have a look. Definitely one I've heard of. I'm just trying to see if he's anywhere else now. Yeah, no, he hasn't had a job since 2022. Just looking on his Wikipedia page, did he retire? Because he's been managing a long time. It doesn't look like he was retired. But anyways. Hi, Tisdale, that's the one. John Johnson says, I'm glad the backroom staff have gone, especially Jake Simpson. His fallout with Paul Huntington proved he was a rotten apple. Buzzcock says 4-4-2. But the thing, 4-4-2, there's a reason it's kind of gone extinct. Steve Bruce is out of a job, yeah. I mean, to be fair, Steve Bruce always did very well when he wasn't in the Premier League. Like, he was really good at Hull. So, but I think we're thinking too far back now. I'd argue for us in the midfield we need a 6 and an 8 and a 10. Exactly, yeah. Which I think we have in Biggins, Neil, Guy, Sadie, Robson, etc. I think our best midfield three, for me, if we're going off the number 6, number 8 and number 10, is probably the guy we had today, Jones. I think he did look quite good. Him at number 10. Although if we're going to be playing with wingers, he'll probably be on the wing, so it'll probably have to be Sadie in the 10. Sadie, Robson behind him, and Guy is the 6. It's probably the best, but Robson... And when's Guy coming back anyways? He's been injured for ages. Gary McKay's talking about Wolverine buying a team. I went to see that film, by the way, Deadpool Wolverine. Dreadful film. I don't know why I keep going back to these Marvel films. Absolute cash grabs, every single one. The point about Tisdale at Stevenage. Some managers aren't good fit for clubs. Some managers won't work. Like, where did Paul Simpson go? Was it like Bromley or something? I can't remember now. Guys, thank you, Dave. Guys, due back in October. Mike said I've seen the movie. Yeah, crap. It's completely off topic now. But with Marvel, you've got to watch about 700 films, every single TV show they put out, even to understand what's going on. So, yeah. Whoever comes in, I'd strongly suggest bringing Hunts back in sub capacity, if that's the way you want to go. But I think the Piatek's strategy now is we're turning over a new page, and I think Huntington is too ingrained in the old way of doing things, in Simpson's way. How's Peter Murphy started at Queen of the South? I wish Steve Evans was available. I do not. I could not stand listening to him every week. To be fair, the start he's had at Rotherham, he might be available very soon. Peter Murphy, I haven't actually looked at how Peter Murphy's been doing, but I don't think we'll get him because of the fact that he's only just started at Queen of the South. I will have a quick look. Well, they lost their last game. They're fourth in the league after 5 games. 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw. Very, very win some, you lose some kind of start. But yeah, decent start for him. Yeah, exactly. Sonny Kirkwood just backing that up as well. Sadly reminds me of Dembele, played for Blackpool last season. Small, nimble and tricky player, just a bit weak. Yeah, and that was shown today, I think. He does get muscled off the ball a bit. Joe French talks about his best starting 11. It's an interesting one, because I do think one of the reasons Simpson got sacked in the end is because of his inability to determine a good goalkeeper. Every single one he's brought in has been a bit of a dud. Thomas Hall, even, I never really got behind him. I think the best keeper of the Simpson era was Mark Howard when he first came into the job. He won every single award, and then Simmo let him go. Mikey says Wyke hasn't been very good. But again, there's only so much White can do. He's there to score. Yes, he should have scored them early 2 chances in the first 2 games, but yeah, Gary says Pep's going to be available with Man City getting relegated soon. Yeah, not for us though. Yeah, Howard or Breeze, says Mikey. Well, exactly. Howard or Breeze have probably been the best keepers of this reign, and both of them he didn't sign. Maybe that's a recruitment issue, but we seem to sign keepers who won't come off the line, and it's let us down a lot. Ultimately, the way Gateshead schooled us in pre-season should be the way we should play football. Rob Elliott is the man. Rob Elliott would be a good manager. I just don't think he would come. I don't think he would come here at this point in the season. Wyke has to get going. I think you have to give him time, and in the last 30 games, he will have a good record. See, I really, really like Luke Armstrong, and I think it's a bit harsh that he hasn't been playing. And you can't drop Dan Adu because he's been our best attacker. He's arguably been our best player this season. Yeah, Wyke is there for a paycheck. I'm starting to worry about that, But yeah. Yeah, sitting on 54 views at the minute. Just about to rock up to 50 minutes. It's been a long stream. It's been ran over what I thought it would anyways. I think we'll give it another couple of minutes, read through these last few chats, and then we'll call it a day. I'll put a video out for obviously whoever comes in. Mike says Armstrong ain't had a chance. Well, yeah, I like Armstrong, and he's so proven at League Two, and he's our record transfer. Why not bring? I like him. I think he's a good striker. I liked him in pre-season, so I think it's harsh that he hasn't been starting games, but at the same time, Simpson would never have dropped Wyke. Right, we'll read through this last few things. What did you think of Archie Davies today? I think he's been our best players. Him and Danadu have been the ones that have impressed me the most this season. He's what we all thought Christy Elliott would be. Remember when we signed him and he was meant to be this massively great right back? I think, who was it? Clibban's calling him a Rolls Royce or a right back. Davis is what we thought Rob Elliott would be and what he should be. But yeah. Not Rob Elliott, Christy Elliott, of course, the right back we had. Getting confused now. Harry Lewis needs to learn how to catch a ball instead of just punching it away. Oh, that punch he did today was awful. Yeah, he doesn't fill me much confidence at all. Pep wouldn't join because we don't have 350 billion to spend on players. He only goes to teams with infinite wealth. He wouldn't make it at Cal United. Well, that's what I mean. I would love for one of these big managers to come down and try it in the lower league. It's obviously not going to happen, but Mike says, great stream, thank you very much. Before I head off, leave a like, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm always blown away by the amount of people that tune into these streams, especially, right, we're currently sitting on just over 50 viewers now. That number reached as high as the high 60s in this stream. For a stream I put out with, 5 minutes warning? That's really good. I'm always incredibly grateful for the support these streams get. It's humbling, it really is. Thank you so much. One more super chat. Under Rob Elliott, do our players have the ability to play like Prime Brass or not? Make mistakes at the back when we play out from the back. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think we'll get Rob Elliott. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see what happens. It's a scary but exciting time to be a Carlisle fan, and I think it's all very important to leave on that we remember Simpson positively. Phil says, great stream, thank you very much. But yeah, thank you. This is the part of the stream where I awkwardly try and end the stream.